CES 2024 is here, and all the new shiny gadgets and technology are on display. And it's not any secret what was the most popular thing at CES, and that was with every company saying AI at least 30 times. But before we get into it, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you watch another video. Stick around for the end when we talk about Microsoft and how it's possibly going third party. Let's get into it. So Sony came out with a car that they were able to drive with a PlayStation controller, which is the most random thing in the world.
I was using this.
They said that was only a press conference thing, which why do it in the first place? If you're not gonna let us use a controller, fuck off. Don't show us that, because I'm gonna want to do it. And also they're also pushing forward into the VR business, and they're making this VR system that it's kind of like for artists. They're not really saying if it's gonna come to PlayStation or not, but it's more like a VFX thing where you can like kind of do the whole like Iron Man thing where you can like kind of like switch things around and stuff like that, which is pretty cool, I guess, like whatever. And also they are doubling down on the fact that they're making live actions of their game IPs, which they have said that Horizon and God of War, one of them is going to Netflix, which is Horizon, and God of War is going to Amazon Prime. Both are in the writing phase of their stages, which means we'll probably get those in 2026, 2025 at the latest, which is pretty freaking cool. We didn't really get the PlayStation 5 Pro that we were hoping to be announced, which really you shouldn't have expected it to be announced at CES, because that's like an entire year for the PlayStation Pro to come out, and it would kind of cannibalize the PlayStation standard PlayStation 5 from its sales. So like you shouldn't have expected anything in the first place. They did announce colored PlayStations. They come in cobalt, silver, and I think like black, if not mistaken. I forgot the colors, but we'll put a video here that shows it.
Would you look at that?
Next up was Nvidia, who showed their new set of GPUs, the 470 Ti Super and the 470 just normal Super, which are also going to come in 480 and 490 Super and Ti Super and so on and so forth. All of them are going to be coming out this month, and they're coming with a price cut, which, damn, thank you. But this also means that the other 470s that were from before that are not Supers, they're not going to be making them anymore. So the only ones that you're going to be able to get are the 470 Supers or the 470 Ti and up. And yeah, you won't be able to buy the regular ones anymore. Those are going to die as soon as these new ones come out. There really wasn't anything else of note in the Nvidia conference except for DLSS 3.0 and some ray tracing coming to some games that, well, I don't know why they have ray tracing in Diablo, but it's coming. It's coming. Also, AMD announced its lineup, which for some reason AMD has some of the most confusing lineups that I've ever heard of. But the new APU that they're announcing comes with a dedicated AI chip that is specifically for AI and is specifically for upscaling and all that kind of stuff. They claim that there is like 39 teraflops in total with the AI, and which is kind of like, I don't know how they're calculating that, but that doesn't fly too well, chief. Now these APUs are no slouches. They're like 1060s from like back in the day, which is pretty powerful for an APU. Shows that these APUs are getting more powerful as we go. Keep in mind that the PlayStation 5 has a custom APU inside of it, and it is close to a 3060 in terms of power. So if they wanted to, they could make their APUs that strong. It's just for what when they have GPUs. Also, AMD announced the 7600 XT with 16 gigabytes of VRAM, which is something that is very necessary in today's gen. And I think Nvidia and also AMD are learning that RAM is something that is, especially VRAM, is very much needed in these new games that are kind of chunky. And not only that, but for PC gaming, for some reason, are not kind of optimized at all. So this will certainly help when it comes to that. That's kind of it when it comes to CES. There really wasn't anything else interesting in the keynotes for other companies. There was Republic of Gamers, but really they didn't announce anything of substance. They announced a new gaming phone, which I don't know why anybody would buy in the first place. They announced some new laptops and a compact computer that really isn't like, okay, cool, like I guess, you know what I mean? Like I guess. But I think the most interesting story that is happening that didn't happen at CES is the fact that there are some major IPs from Xbox coming to PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. One of those being Hi-Fi Rush and the other one being Sea of Thieves, with rumors saying that there is probably going to be more games coming to PlayStation and Nintendo and its future Nintendo console. I think we all have to remember that Xbox owns Bethesda and Activision Blizzard, and those are IPs that they cannot afford to only keep on Xbox with a small install base that they have. PlayStation has been outselling them almost 3-1 almost every single month since the start of the generation. And that doesn't really get you the possibility of keeping those games exclusive. It's just not possible with the giant budgets that these games have. Call of Duty has a budget of like $300 million. Do not expect those games to stay on Xbox or to shoot directly on Game Pass. Games have more and more become more expensive and have had an inflated budget, which I think is a mistake in my opinion, even for PlayStation to do with a giant install base that they have. The reason why PlayStation can afford to only put their games on PC and not on Nintendo and not on Xbox is because they command the giant lead that they have in terms of console install base. And while the install base gets bigger and bigger, it is a good thing, but it's also on an outdated plan, which is console. Xbox understands that the future is more than likely not going to have consoles and more than likely not going to have physical hardware within the next 2 or 3 gens. I do believe that the next generation is going to have a console, and almost every single generation after that more than likely will have a physical console, but not like we know it. And slowly we'll start going to the fact that, yeah, all these games are going to be streamed, unfortunately. But for now, until that happens, Xbox cannot afford to have their IPs only on their platform and only on PC. They do need PlayStation's install base and they do need Nintendo's install base. And they're not going to get that with putting Game Pass on the Switch, because I imagine it would be a nightmare trying to negotiate the revenue splits that you get from Game Pass, which already is missing its target sales and probably losing them a ton of money. A lot of Xbox gamers are kind of losing their minds on this thing that's happening with Xbox and their pivot, when in reality, it was kind of inevitable to the point where they lost last generation, which, as Phil Spencer says, was the most important generation where everybody built their digital library. And they tried everything they could. They threw as much money as they could at it as possible, and it really didn't change anything. And at one point or another, you need to make revenue for your shareholders. And yeah, this is what it's come to. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. And yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to still have your exclusives. You're still going to have your Halos, your Gears of Wars and stuff like that, and new IPs and Starfields and all that. But tell me what you guys think. Did you guys like CES? What do you think about Xbox going third party and their games slowly coming to PlayStation and Nintendo? Let me know what you think in the comment section, and remember, you are pretty good.